dreams about the West and started to roam. 6 long months on a dust-covered trail. They say heaven's at the end, but so far it's been hell. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. We were digging and shifting 5 to 5, selling everything we found just to stay alive. Gold flowed free like the whiskey in the bars. Sinning was the big thing, Lord, and Satan was a star. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And blood lined the streets. Men were shot down for the sake of having fun, or just to hear the noise of their 44 guns. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Now my widow, she weeps by my grave. Tears flow free for her man couldn't save. Shot down in cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claim. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Waiting for me there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, YouTubers and friends, how are all of you doing tonight? Thank you all for joining me here. Hey, Rockhound Talk Live, good to see you. I'm looking forward to when you're on the show. Everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. I see I have some great people in here like mi amigo David Villa, GoPro Unlimited, and I don't buy your stuff about no gold in Utah stuff. I know people. Jason A.U. and Terry Marshall, Dan Zoller, Dredging Sucks, Dan Zoller. And yes, it does. My motherlode friend Heath Doty, all the way from New York. Careless Whispers. Good to see you. Yeti Mountain Trading. Always good to see you, Chris. Mr. Lodak, the world's greatest moderator, and all others. Tin Man Magnet Fishing, good to see you as always, Willie. And Rat Relics Recovery Artifacts Together, welcome. Welcome. Tonight we have a friend of mine. I think I can call Kevin a friend. I've worked with him several times at the GPAA Gold shows. I followed this man and Gold Trails, Aztec Treasure or Aztec Gold. I forget the name of that, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. And he's been a big active part of the lifestyle of the community and the lifestyle of gold prospecting and small scale mining for many years. Before that, he was a big part of Mine Lab metal detectors. This guy has so much knowledge in his head. It would take me 5 times over total to have as much knowledge of this guy, but it's a great pleasure having him back on Tuesday night Hangout Live. But before I get to that, I want to congratulate my youngest, Ian Marvin, for marrying a beautiful girl. Andrea, welcome to the Marvin family. Have your straight jacket ready, girl. Love you. Can't wait to see you again. So with that, it's time to get on to this show. Don't go away. Kevin and I will be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday
Thanks for holding out for that quick intro. All things country, good to see you. Thomas Pennyweight, folks, good to see you. Terry Marshall, Johnny Turtle, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to say one thing before I get Kevin talking, because I want him to talk quite a bit. I have some questions, and I talked him into breaking out, grabbing some of his gold porn friends. So we'll have some pretties to look at for all you gold perverts out there. But tonight, sponsored by my friends over at Gold ProspectorsStream.com, doing an end of stream giveaway for this Adventure Sleuth. Not this one, but you'll be getting one delivered to you from the manufacturer. But they're really handy, lightweight, go right into your backpack. But enough of that. Kevin Hoagland, welcome back to Tuesday Night Hangout Lives. Pleasure
Hey,
to
man,
have you.
I am glad to be back. I was thinking about this the other day. It's been a minute.
Yeah, at least couple years, at least.
Yeah.
And I know you're pretty much an open book for our friends over at Gold Prospectors Space, and you've always been like Johnny on the spot most of the time when I message you, but I know you're a very, very busy man. Um,
Buddy, I've been called a lot of things over the last couple of years, but Johnny on the spot is not one of them. So I've got a schedule that just is, I don't know what we here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, I'm out of here in 4 days for a month over at a Italian bar. So,
oh, nice. LDMA GPAA outing going on there.
no, last year in 2023, I started doing gold trails in the field. You know, I shouldn't be that relaxed. Started doing gold trails in the field, and at first I started doing 1 day events, which was a huge mistake. So I went to 2 day events, and the ratings all the way across the board, hundreds and hundreds of ratings. I worked with over 1,200 GPA and LDMA members and non-members. I had a 4.94 out of 5, all the way across the board. And the only dinks on that at all was that it wasn't long enough. Yeah.
When
So,
is it ever long enough when you get a bunch of us on the river or
yeah.
out in the desert for that matter?
Yeah.
You know?
So what I've done is I've given Gold Trails a home. I've taken over iBar Camp, and it's no longer 2 days, it's 3 days. So the first day is classroom, first day classroom half day, and then in the field. Second day is metal detecting, and then of course half day, then in the field. And then the third day is go do whatever you want. I'll come find you, or raise your flag, or throw a rock at me, or whatever.
Right.
And I'll come over and work with you personally, because I'm limiting the number of people, so it's only 20, and that's all at Gold, and that's all at iBar. Pretty excited about that.
Now that does move to other LDMA properties, right?
No,
so it's always at Italian bar.
Yeah, it's going to be an Italian bar. I've created a workbook, a handbook that everybody that comes in signs up. I mean, there is a fee for it, but this year, what I'm doing is, because I can utilize an LDMA camp. If you're signed up for Gold Trails, camping, dry camping is free the whole time you're there. You know, so on, so like that. It's just, I put a lot of benefit into it.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, if anybody's interested, just go to goldtrails.com and that'll take you to the page. And even if you're not a GPA member, the way it's all set up is by the time you get signed up, you will be a GPA member, at least for a year. So,
Excellent, excellent.
and yeah, Gold Trails is a different thing. You know, it's not geology based, and that's the biggest thing that I really was pushing for is, and yeah, I've got a lot of geology behind me, but a lot of people, they want to go out and they want to be able to find gold. And to me, that's what it's all about. And it's not necessarily about understanding all of the geology. It's understanding the ground. You know, because if I go back in time from, well, let's say the California mother lode, there are a lot of people out there finding gold and they didn't know anything about geology. What they
True.
did know was how to read the earth, not just the water, but read the earth.
Read the topography of the land.
Yeah, let the ground talk to you, because you know, for the 50 plus years that I've been out prospecting and mining, most of my best discoveries have started with following the ground, letting the ground talk to me, finding gold, and then sitting down with that piece of gold, sitting down with this piece of gold and having a conversation with it saying, where'd you come from? You know, and then following it back up. Every lode mine that I've ever founded was based on placer. You know,
Isn't that how the old timers did it? Likewise,
absolutely.
they would prospect, kind of like that skit in that one Ballard to
The
Soapy.
Ballard of Buster Scruggs.
Yes,
Watch
yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah. A
yes.
friend of mine was staying with me for a couple of days and he'd never seen that segment of
Oh,
that
that's
movie.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So yeah. And believe me, if that hadn't been Tom White, and if it had been back in that day, there was nothing about geology. It was, and I'm not knocking geology because you have to have the basics
Right,
and
right.
you have to understand when you're having that conversation with the gold, it needs to be an informed conversation and let the gold talk to you and tell you where you're going to go. So that's what Gold Trails has always been about. And you get, I'm not going to say a 10,000 foot level of geology. It's a 500-foot view, just enough to either spark you to go off and go do some stuff on your own as far as geology is concerned, or understand that you're going to be able to find gold. But enough of that. What else is going on?
Well, you know, this is the main theme of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. Not, granted, it started off nothing but gold, but it is treasure hunting. And what's the purest, longest history of treasure hunting we have other than gold mining?
Yeah.
You
Was that a
know,
statement or a question?
well, both kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
But hasn't gold mining in particular been around for over 6,000 years or
Oh,
so?
yeah. Well, you know, the very first person to find gold was an Egyptian, and I can't think of his name, but an Egyptian alchemist. And that was a long time ago. And then, you know, of course, time progressed, and then uh, around the world, gold was being found in different places, and then our part of the world started becoming more populated, and gold found at the Reed Mine there in North Carolina, and then the Georgia Gold Rush, long before the California Gold Rush or the Arizona Gold Rush or any of the gold rushes. You know,
Right.
it started out there.
Yeah.
And
20 years prior, if I
Yeah.
recollect right.
Yeah. And then if you forget about the Anglo, if we go back and we start talking about the Aztec, and
Oh,
there's a
shoot. The
yeah.
Aztecs, the Incas.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The Aztec were basically merciless and everything else like that, but man, did they know how to find gold? And
Sounds a
the
lot
only
like
thing
the
that,
Spanish, though.
yeah, well, and quite frankly, I believe that here's an interesting thing. In a lot of the studying that I've done on the Aztec over the years, the one thing that I found is that, of course, the Aztec were in North America long before the Spanish got here.
Right.
When Cortez landed his boat, that was the first he ever had any contact with the Aztec, so on like that. And really what it boiled down to is that in some of these old mines that I've found over the years where the first part of the mine was absolutely hand dug, and it rates back to being hand dug with not steel, but with
Mm.
rock and stick and different things like that. I can date that back easily to the time of the Aztec, and the archaeologists that I've worked can do the same thing. But it's really interesting because about 90% of those mines that I've been into, it goes back so far, and then you can see where it was continued, but now it was being worked with steel.
Right.
And then as Anglos came in, as we came into it, they went in and they reworked a lot of these mines also. So, I'm going to say the Aztec founded the mines, the Spanish worked them after the Aztec were all gone, and then of course during our period, the 1800s all the way to today, it's been finding some of these old mines, and it's really easy to tell because you'll find a mine that has a square roof. Everything is square, and that was all hand dug. And it's not until you get back into modern mining where you've got the curve, where you've got the rolled roof, which is all about support and not getting dead. So that was, and it's really interesting to be able to get into some of these old mines and take a look at it. And I am not endorsing going into a mine. I am dead set about people going into mines that don't have proper training and
Or
understand.
equipment.
Yeah, and the right safety equipment. And the most important one is an air meter that's calibrated to parts per billion. As you saw in Aztec, we had bad air. We hit a spot where it was bad air. And when everybody's alarm started going off, I mean, I broke the sacred fourth wall and screamed at the cameraman to get his ass out of there right now.
Get the
And
blankety blank blank
yeah,
out of here.
yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't that A, they left that in, and B, that they didn't edit it. Because at one point, because he's the guy who's just an incredible camera guy, I grabbed him. He was wearing like a harness type thing. I grabbed him by the harness and I was pulling him out of the mine shaft. It's like, you're not staying in here. You're not getting any photos or any film at this point.
Brad Welch from Australia says, just take a canary in the mine. All things
Not in this
con-
day and age, man. You'll get in trouble for animal cruelty.
right. All
So,
things country said, did the canary make it though?
well, most of the time now, especially in some of these mines that have been around since the 1800s, that have had water in them for almost a century, and you've got a lot of pyretic and a lot of other material that's in this water. You step into that thing, and you're talking about hydrogen sulfide, different gases like that are instantaneous. And it's a big race to see who's going to die first, you or the canary.
Right.
So it's
Well, like David Villa says, if you want to stay alive, stay out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Stay out, stay alive, like many signs on old mines
Yep.
say. But man, they're so tempting. And
They are tempting. And anytime before I either reopen a hard rock mine or I'm even looking at a hard rock mine, I do remote air studies all the way down. I have ways to meter shoring to see the strength and different things like that. If there's any shoring in there, I'll always do testing every 3 feet as I'm going in. I'm not, I'm not somebody that goes down there 500 feet and then just decides to take a look at things. I'm doing it every 3 to 5 feet. It may take me a month to get down to the bottom of a shaft, but at least I know I'm going to be coming out of it.
Careless Whispers has a statement towards the canary. It goes, I meant it slipped off the leash. Is it really cruelty if it never came back?
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know. Is canary heaven kind of like just fly, breathe free? Oh, I don't. Can you even go somewhere and buy a canary these days?
I'm sure you could somewhere,
It seems like that would make sense.
If not in a pet shop, I'm sure there's a black market somewhere. Go to Mexico. Can't you buy anything you want in Mexico?
Yeah, yeah. That'd be funny. Just I need put a Facebook post up that I need to talk to somebody at Canaries R Us. So
David Villa says pet store still sells them.
I haven't been at that store in I
Right,
don't know.
Careless. Black market canaries, you
There
bet.
we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, this is getting dark. Oh,
Oh man, oh man. So my first question, Kevin, I might have they might have asked this when you were on GPS last for me, but when are we gonna have the privilege of having GPAA gold shows back east of the Mississippi?
well, let's just say GPA gold shows overall.
Okay.
2022 was last year that we did the gold shows, and I will tell you, there was two parts of it. One of it is I feel it was an absolute success because we were able to do 6 shows. We got out there, we showed it that it was okay to be out there, and attendance was down. That's all there was to it. And we had a really hard time with vendors because costs were still high. Everything was just crazy.
Right.
So we decided not to do or national show for at least a couple of years. And what we've been doing is if there's chapters that are wanting to do shows, we're helping them, we're supporting them a lot of times um, with making sure that they have the lender list and different things like that. Matter of fact, there's a gold show coming up in Lodi, California in August, and it's the Stockton chapter of the Gold Prospectors Association of America, and we've been supporting them by working with different vendors to help them with to help fill up their show and so on like that. So if you're a vendor and you want to come west in uh, August, I believe it's 10th and 11th, then reach out to the Stockton chapter. Just go on they're on Facebook and everything else, and reach out to Kevin Bell, and he will be more than happy to talk to you about the gold show. I'll be there because I'm going to do a gold trails right after that. So
Right on.
But with all that said, I'm sorry. Let's get back to the original question. When will GPA be looking at doing gold shows? We, at the beginning or at the last quarter of last year, we started talking about it. And then we've watched pricing and everything go up like this. And it's hard for us to have a lot of vendors and different people coming out and doing one-offs and different things like that. So we're seriously looking at maybe one big show or one show late 2024, but I think we are looking at a gold show schedule for 2025, depending upon how things progress over the next couple of months, next 3 months. We want people to come out and have a good time. We want our vendors to be able to be at a gold show where they've got the bottom line is they come there to sell equipment, and we want to make sure that they have the very best opportunities of doing that. And so, it's kind of a balancing act.
Well, I sure hope you are able to bring them back to my neck of the woods again, because I'd enjoyed it, and we've been trying to get it in spring instead of fall, like it was
Yes.
always in October or something. And then we
Yep.
finally got it in spring, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
And like Robert Ferguson from Orange County, California, I try to go to the Gold Show every year. I like it. I do too. And most time, a lot of times, I work the panning booth and
Yep.
I help my chapter or the OSPA, or I'm in my own booth for Tuesday night Hangout Live or Flash in Your Pan or Dream Mat. And it's a great time. I get to visit with this guy. And one year I got to meet Emily Rydell. You know what, Kevin? She surprised me.
How's that?
Well, okay, you know how TV is, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
I know where this one's going already.
we've had already numerous guests from different TV shows in the treasure hunting niche, right?
Right.
I kind of I had a preconceived notion of how she may be.
Everybody
And
does.
right, right. But she was nothing like that. She was
No.
very nice, very knowledgeable. Um, it was a pleasure working with her, even though we're all working at the shows. I'm not there playing. Kevin's definitely not at the show playing. And we all have so little time to really talk and stuff and visit, even though we do get some visit time in. But she pleasantly surprised me on her demeanor, how she treated people. Was very nice.
Emily's she's just one of the miners, and she's the one that will stop and have a conversation with you. And if she can help you out in any way, shape, or form, she's going to. It's like Ellie Ringo.
Oh yeah,
Ellie Ringo.
Ellie
Knows rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's an amazing geologist, and her history is fantastic. And I truly, and that was somebody that I didn't know what that was going to be like. And then when she was at the Phoenix Gold Show, I walked over and just sat down, and we were going to talk for about 5 minutes. And I think about 30 minutes later, I was, we were both like, oh crap, we got to get back to what we're doing.
I'm
I was still setting
surprised
up
you
the
could.
show.
I'm surprised you could sit that still for that long during
Well, the
show
show
setup.
wasn't quite open yet.
Right, there is a little more visit time, especially once we go through and set up all the booths and all that, and the vendors start settling in. And shoot, correct me if I'm wrong. Rockhound Talk Live. I want to say Amanda. Ellie's been a wonderful guest several times on Tuesday Night Hangout Live, and I'm very happy how she has grown too. You know, here on YouTube and her spot on TV and whatnot. But, you
Yeah.
know, TV always makes you out to be something you're not for the most time. And you've
Yeah.
had your experiences with the Aztec show you were on, and
Well, yeah. I mean, I started doing stuff on TV a lot back in 2005, starting with the Travel Channel and doing some of their shows that they were doing, and then technical advising on some other shows and some different things over the years. But yeah, it's when what I loved about Aztec is that when we sat down and I met with them, and they were really interesting because they had heard about mine and Chris's history.
mm-hmm.
My biggest fear was it's like, what are you? Where's the drama? What are you guys going to want us to do? What's going to happen? So on, so like that. And the producer, who is a two-time Emmy-winning, award-winning producer, um, he just looked at me and he said, "Look, man, I've watched so much of you over the years, and I've watched a bunch of stuff Chris is doing. You guys just do you. That's good enough." Yeah. So the hardest time that I had with any of that is Chris and I are both old miners.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just turn the cameras on and let us just talk. And then we'd get 2 or 3 minutes into it. And Decker would look at us and go, hold on, hold on. He would always do this. And you're like, what? And he'd just look at us and go, can you say that again in English? Because we were just, we were just talking mining talk. We were talking about being underground and what we were doing, and talking about the shear wall that would have been found and all this. And he's like, can and the killer was the one at it, the adit of a mine. He beat me to death on that one. Can't you just save the opening? So yeah, yeah. So it is what it is, brother.
I have some people coming in. Want to thank my Australian opal miner and gold miner Terry Marshall for the super chat. Thank you. Your stickers are on the way, uh, Terry and Brad. If they don't get there by the time you're in the mother load on the Yuba, they'll be there when you get home, buddy. Um,
That's a
Jim
little vague.
Cottonwood Trails Gold Camp, good to see you. Great Lakes Concentrates, good to see you. Martin Chew, welcome. Robert Ferguson, good to see you. Keep up the great work metal detecting the beaches, buddy.
Which
Drain the
Robert
Swamp
Ferguson is that?
53. Robert Ferguson. Which Robert Ferguson? He
Is
has
he
a
the is he the beach hunter down in like what, South Carolina and Georgia?
no. He's Southern Californian.
Oh,
He
okay.
he hunts like Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, um, all over the West Coast.
I got a lot of nice stuff out of Newport and Mission Beach over the years.
Usually going through San Diego, I'm just on my way to Baja. Those were in my beach bum surfing days, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That
and
was in all of ours beach bum surfing days.
I'd be passing Diego on my way to past Ensenada or something,
Yeah.
searching for those waves and fish tacos and cheap Mexican beer. So,
Well, surfing's still good.
But
Fish tacos are still abundant,
yeah.
but cheap beer, I'm not sure about any of them.
Yes, YouTube Robert Ferguson, California. He's been on the tube for quite a while.
Yep, I have seen some of his videos.
And Heath, to answer your question, I'll be there on Saturday only. So I don't need a camping spot, Jim. I'll be there Saturday.
Dude, I thought you were talking to me.
For free. Sorry, I'm answering some stuff in the chat room and stuff like that. Live broadcasting. Counting down, Jim. Counting down. A couple more weeks. Chris Undertaking in the house, all the way from Sydney, Australia, or is it Melbourne? I said Melbourne last time when you were on. You know Chris Undertaking, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he
Got a
was
lot of respect for him.
He was a very fun guest on the show, and I'm really looking forward to whatever content he puts out while he's stationed in Australia.
If the letter him, if the lever let him off the base,
Right.
wouldn't that be horrible, Chris? I would feel so sorry for you if you made that decision to go to Australia and you never get off the base.
Sorry, Chris, if I am laughing, Chris, but yeah, I totally agree with Kevin. If you can't hook up with like Chris Vogus and some of the other guys, Levi or whoever out there, and or even get out on your own to some open land, oh God, I'd be so pissed at the military for you.
Yeah, yeah. So that would just be, but we
Oh,
already know that that's not going to
Chris
happen.
says, luckily I can free float. I have big plans to travel around. You bet. Yeah. I always
Good.
said if I enlisted and they shipped me to Australia, I'd probably throw away my passport and just bum around there. And back in the days in my 20s that would have been there bum around surfing with the bronze Aussies, and now it's all about prospecting.
Now it's about the gold. Now it's about the gold Aussies.
Right. No
Yeah,
doubt about that. Good to see you, Chris. I'm glad you're there safe and sound. And
yeah.
good
So am I.
morning to you. Well, good afternoon almost. I guess
Oh
it
yeah. It's
depends on what part of Aussie land you're in.
I don't know if he's 15 or 17 hours ahead of us.
He's in there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So what have you
appreciate
been
it.
up to?
Uh, well, I got a promotion at work. I'm not just, uh, I am now a foreman slash superintendent instead of one of the guys that's the superintendent says, okay, Ed, take these guys and you're in control of them and do this. So now I have my own jobs that I
Nice.
have to run and take care of. Money's a little better, of course, and
Sure.
the time is a little more, as you know. But I'm still in construction like I've always been. Dano, Jesse, and I were able to get out on the stream um, late March. So, but that's the first time I've been able to get out. For the
Yeah.
past month, it seems like our rivers and streams in my part of the state and where I go have been high and muddy.
Yep.
And um, we've had
Yeah.
some nasty storms this spring.
Yeah. Well, even out here, you know, every winter it's a crapshoot. You're either going to have a really good dry washing year, or you're going to wish that you brought your dredge. And this year was kind of a split.
Well, talking, I see Rob's in here from GPS, Y Gold Metal Detecting Adventures. Um, it's hard telling. I'm gonna have to ask Swiftwater
Oh,
uh, about his mining escapades next time we're in Zoom together. But
yeah, Scott came out on one of my gold trails that I had in Arizona and just had a blast. And people loved interacting. And he's just a good dude. He's just a good dude.
I agree, but yeah, we love him, so we give him a hard time, and he's such
Oh, we
a
have to.
he can be such an easy target sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We
Well,
love you,
and
Swifty.
I think is he in the room?
No, but
Okay.
his buddy Rob, you might have met him when the couple of seasons he was out in Arizona
Yeah.
working with
Yeah.
Swifty on his claim.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Scott said something about me picking on him one time, and I just told him that's it. Of course, I'm going to pick on you, dude. You're my favorite little booger. So it's. Oh.
Well,
But I made him. The one thing I did do is when he came out on the gold trails, I made him bring Manny with him.
Oh,
So
that's
the Manny sat in the truck for a couple of days.
oh, that's great. That's great.
We were talking about doing a couple of things with him, but I don't even know what it was. So it must have been awfully nefarious if I've forgotten about it already. So, oh,
Yeah. Mysteriously, one day that ended up being in his mailbox. Or,
I don't know who spent the money to ship that to him. I mean, I picked Manny up. Manny is Manny is more like one of those. To me, it felt like it was like one of those the 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 dolls that they use for like CPR and rescue, full weight, full size. Got to pick it up, throw it over his shoulder, and get it out of the burning building. Ain't nothing light about Manny.
I believe it. We still give him a very much of a hard time. Jason A.U. Colorado has a question for you, Kevin.
Sure.
Could you please share your most preferred location to relax and potentially discover something extraordinary?
Wow. That's almost like asking me like what's my favorite metal detector? And it's the one that I have in my hand right now that I know everything there is to know about it. That's my favorite my favorite metal detector. You
Right.
know, I'm sorry. I actually can't answer that question because everywhere I go, whether it be in the United States or at the times that I've been to Australia and different down South America, all those places like that, it's I always seem to find something that I just completely totally enthralled with it. and find something extraordinary. And I mean, to me, extraordinary could be just an amazing person that I meet, that I sit and I talk with, and I learn things from. That happened to me over the weekend. Ran into somebody that we started talking, and he started rattling off history of an area that I had no idea about. And now I do. So I'm
I've
pretty
often
simple, man.
say the gold's a nice bonus, but the people and the friendships you nurture and make are the real treasure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people I started with, most of my mentors from 50 plus years ago now, most of them are gone. And there's a lot of folks that I kind of came up with and that were maybe a few years behind me as far as prospecting and different things like that. But those are the people that I gravitate towards.
Oh, I know where, on No Tell'em Creek, right?
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh,
where he
absolutely.
finds it, on No Tell'em Creek,
Yeah.
Jason. And
I've got a mine. I've got a mine on No Tell'em Creek. If you go to the either Gold Trails or the Gold Prospectors Association GPAA YouTube, I've got a whole claim on No Tell'em Creek. Laid it out with Google Earth and taught people how to use Google Earth to lay out claims and do different things like that. But yeah, that's all up on No Tell'em Creek.
um, Gold Hunter 77, he's from Gold Beach area of Oregon. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
darn, almost squeezed the secret spot out of him.
Oh,
Laugh
if you
out
want,
loud.
no, why? No, I have no secret spots. I mean, you know that picture I showed you that we can't get the screen share to work, but
Right.
that's a replica of it's an exact casting of that 27-ounce plop of, looks like cow poop, gold. And where that was found was less than 5 miles from, or 6 miles from here. There's a rock cairn about this tall with a big flat stone on it. And if you lift that up, inside there is now a plastic Folger coffee can, because that thing was set there rotted, the old
Mm-hmm.
metal one. And inside of it is a Polaroid that's been laminated
With that
that
nugget?
shows, with me holding that nugget and all my buddies sitting around me that were there with me the day that I found it. And that is the exact X marks the spot.
Oh,
Now I'm
wow.
not going to tell you where that's at, but I will tell you that it's on the alluvial fan. No. I'll make it even easier. Between um, Angels Ranch Road and not even over the last major cut. I can't remember the name of it. There's a huge alluvial fan out there, and out there's that rock cairn, and it was there. Nobody's messed with it over the years, and now I did go there about 2 years ago and write a phone number down on it and just ask people, if you find this, give me a call, tell me what you found. So yeah, that's a big X marks the spot.
There you
The
go.
smart spot.
So head down to Arizona some winter, Gold Hunter 77, and you got General you right there.
Yeah,
Um, Thomas, you know Thomas, Lucky
Thomas
Ducky
folks.
Thomas Folks
Oh
Pennyweight.
yeah,
He says, Kevin, I'm getting better at finding gold in your neck of the woods, metal detecting.
good.
Should hope so. You're going
Yeah.
there every year now. Jeez, must be nice. Uh,
Oh,
I'm glad. JBM had a question here. Let me find it. He's like, hey, fellas, how much does a claim run? Depends on the ground. Depends on the claim, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the question. I coughed.
Oh, okay. He asked, hey, fellas, how much does the gold claim cost? Run.
Yeah, okay,
Depends.
so is he asking about the overall cost or the claim, or what it would take for me to put up a claim?
Well, I think you do it different than some people. I
Yeah, I
think
do.
he's talking just the initial, like if he was purchasing a claim.
Oh,
Me, I'm probably more like Kevin. I would research, look for open land in an area that is open to mineral entry, and then go out, boots on the ground, search, make my discovery, then go to the county seat and file it, then to the BLM and file it without going through someone else on a claim that they say is very rich. And it could be not. But
I have a
trans,
problem. I have a problem with buying claims. I always have. I try to talk people out of it, although I know that some people are going to buy a claim.
yeah,
But
and
here's my rules.
unfortunately, a lot of times sight unseen too.
Oh, and you know what? And I'm going to say this for anybody sitting out there
Do
watching this: if you buy a claim sight unseen, it's all on you. I tell if if Bob called me today and said I'm thinking about buying a claim, first off, have you researched the area? Do you know everything there is about to know about the area? Do you know what type of gold has been coming out of that area? And if you buy a claim for $10,000 and you find out that the only thing that's out there that's out there on that claim is auriferous mesothermal gold deposits, you're absolutely screwed unless you got $1 million just to start an operation. But yeah, you got to know everything that there is. And this is rule number 2. You tell that person, I want to come out and I want to prospect that claim before I buy it. If they say no, hang up the phone. If they say, I've got a spot that I'll let you prospect, hang up the phone. Or yeah, those are those are the two main ones. Because back in the 1800s, some of the biggest mines in some of these areas around here, they sold 5 or 6 times, and they sold for a lot of money, and there was no gold. It was hey, it was guys walking in with a shotgun and just blasting gold into the quartz and just tearing onto all sorts of other stuff. So
excuse me for a second. My producer
absolutely
is
no
yelling
worries.
it behind my screen in the studio. She's on my lap. She'll be fine for just a second. Let her wave to the audience. Now, there's everyone talking to you there and there, honey. Now, wave at the camera.
Hi.
No avatar tonight, honey, so she ain't gonna flip me off again. Honey.
Oh,
She was. I'll tell the story about that. Okay, under the wizard's curtain, honey. Uh, I had a show where it ended up being an open line Tuesday, more or less, right?
uh-huh.
My guest had to cancel out, if I remember right, but I I have an avatar in Zoom,
Yeah.
much like Lodak and Rob and others at GPS do.
Yeah.
And it looks a lot like me. It has long reddish hair and stuff, a goatee and stuff. And I had it up on the screen where you are now in my encoder, right?
Right.
My granddaughter's here. She gets off my lap. I put her down like I did, and then she starts going like this. And she's like dead eyeing my avatar in my monitor on the screen. Then she goes,
Oh,
it,
that's
it was
that's
hilarious.
classic. That's
I'm really
classic.
tempted to clip it and make a short of it.
You should. Although you'd probably get in trouble
I
for
don't
having
think
a
I'll
little
be able to
kid.
monetize it.
No.
And they might even say, I might get a note from YouTube about it being such a child with all the stuff that's gone on in YouTube land with children content. But
Yeah. A little kid flipping off an audience might be a little bit too much for YouTube. Now,
well, she
throw it
was
up on
kind of
X.
behind my back. I didn't know it until Jurin, Mr. Lodak, you know him as Jurin. Mr. Lodak goes, she flipped you off, or she flipped us off. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
Then he sends me the picture of it. It's hilarious. It's
that's
hilarious.
classic.
They
Yeah.
haven't demonetized that episode, so but
Oh,
it's only like what, during 30 seconds, not even that. At first she's like looking at the avatar, then we figured out she didn't like the avatar, and she's like bird eyeing it and looking at it really mean, and shaking its fist and trying to flip it off with her left hand at first. And then she does a proud bird with her right hand, changes hands, and bam. Oh, we've watched it several times, just that clip of
oh,
it several times, and get a hoot out of it. I
that's funny.
I I
That's
I I
funny.
think I might, and just see what YouTube will do with it.
I mean,
If they
what's they're gonna
demonetize
do?
that short, no big deal.
Yeah, they'll take it off.
As
I
long
mean,
as they
that's
don't red flag for me, if I
how
get
many
a strike
violations?
for it,
Yeah, how many violations do you have?
0.
Oh,
I know 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, but
yeah.
I have 0.
So what you do is you go put it on X first and see what happens on X, and then if there's no feedback or anything in there, just slip it over to Instagram and then just slip it into YouTube.
Oh, I do have a presence over at X. I don't use X Twitter a lot, but I could do that. I could do it. Slip it
Yeah,
in, just a quick little short over at X, then Instagram. Boom.
yeah. And I don't know that do a YouTube search for little kids flipping off the camera and see if there's anything up there.
True.
And if there is, you'll probably be the first to get busted for doing it. Oh,
Yeah, but
so yeah, back to the claim. Yeah, and if they won't let you prospect where you want to prospect, it's a non-starter. It's an absolute non-starter. So research is not that hard to do. There's so many tools out there now. I started out my research in that thing called let's see, what's it? Oh, the library. Yeah, going to the library.
library, microfiche.
Yep, yep, yep. And now almost everything you need is online. Like
Oh,
Johnson's books, Maureen Johnson's books about placer gold deposits of Arizona and Nevada and all of the western mining states. You can find those basically online, downloadable for free. There's a lot of them that are up there that are free. And then now that USGS has done so much incredible mapping, like you need to figure out You're looking at an area and you get a little research about it and it talks about the gold and you go, huh, that sounds like hydrothermal. You can go to USGS map and get the hydrothermal deposits for that particular area, or the epithermal or diaperic, all of those things. And so those are available. And I'll tell you, the coolest map that I've seen that's come out of USGS in the last 5 years was and it just came out a few months ago, the fault risk map. It shows hundreds of faults. And these are earthquake, like the San Andreas, the Garlic, all of these different faults. And it shows the fault lines and they are like measured to within a foot of what those fault lines are. And understanding that information and then having something like your volcanic information or your caldera information, there's not much that there's not out there. So if somebody's sitting, if you're sitting at your place in the middle of the winter time, when you got 6 feet of snow on the ground on it, that's when you do your armchair prospecting. And you start getting all that information.
I'm back up in the North Cascades of Washington. I don't really get 6 feet here. We get brutally cold, and sometimes our rivers and streams seem like they're frozen solid. But I'm not up at Lake Tahoe or something where I have mass footage of snow.
Right. Yeah.
Unless I had a blizzard and there's a snowdrift in front of my house.
Yeah. Well, I went up when I was doing some of the gold trails. I did one on the GPAA claim, the hard wages, which is way up above the national park. So I got there, I think it was May. And it was a beautiful day, but I walked around one corner and there was still 2 feet of snow up there. And then driving into the park, I stayed at a hotel, not a hotel, but kind of like a resort in the park. And that was interesting. That was pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah, there's places back home in Washington that I'd go prospecting to where there'd still be snow well into July.
Yep.
Yeah, thank God I don't have to deal with that here.
Yeah. Well, one of the LDMA exclusive claims is in Leadville, Colorado.
Right.
And it's way above Leadville. So when you get up there, whenever anybody tells me that they're going to go there, I warn them about, understand you're going to be in extremely high altitude. So make sure you can handle that. And if you're going in there before August or middle of July, you're going to be driving through snow most of the time. Yeah. So let's
really
on the question of the claim, was he looking at like what you pay for a claim, or what's it cost to go out and file your own? Did he give you a follow-up?
JBM, let me see if I
come on, JBM, jump back in there. Give us some clarification, buddy. Help us out here.
I just probably missed it. And he left. He had to go. But let's say just filing.
Exactly what you said. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to find areas that are open. I'm going to go out. I'm going to carry my GPS. I'm going to do testing and sampling. I'm going to find an area where I've got specs in the pan and see if I can turn that into dollars by yard by just doing my trending. If it works out, I'm setting my POD, my point of discovery. I'm going to walk it out. First shot, I'm just going to put up rock cairns on my corners. And then now I do things a little bit differently than you do as far as filing, because I've watched so many people lose claims. So I've got my paperwork, I've got my POD, I've got everything written out. I've got it in a can, and I've got it on a post there where I'm filing that claim.
Okay.
Now I will go to the county and file that or record that first,
Right.
because it used to be you go to the BLM and you file your claim, then you go to the county and then you record it. Too many times over the last decade or so, there's people that if they come across your paperwork and it's like within the last few days or something like this, they'll run to the county and record that claim, and you don't have that claim.
Mm.
It's sad. It's thievery. It's absolute thievery. And if there's anybody that's out there that's done that, that's listening to this, do me a favor, get off. I don't like you.
Right. And
That
they're worse than claim jumpers.
yeah,
High
yeah, because they're
graders.
yeah, and paper hangers and all these other things. So I'll go record at the county, and it depends on where you live, on what that recording fee is going to be. Here in Yavapai County, it's about somewhere between $15 and $18. If you're anywhere in the state of Washington, it's $140, and that's probably going to go up this year. And then you run off to the BL. Once you've done that, you run off to the BLM, file your claim, and the first year it's going to run you around 200, 250 by the time you get that part of it done. And then after that, $165 a year, and that's all you have to do to maintain it. But I have to be careful, because I have heard that claim file pricing is going up this year. BLM will be raising the price.
I believe it. And
Yeah.
if I understand right, they totally got rid of small scale minor exceptions, right?
No,
Oh,
there's still, yeah, I've got one claim in the SME, and I've got a couple of friends of mine that have their claims in their SMEs. And there's that's one that's going to be hard to get rid of. You know, they can adjust the fees, but going in and changing something that's an addendum to the 1872 mining law is going to be a little bit tougher to do.
well, that's a good thing.
Now,
It's a shame
watch
though,
now.
Kevin. I'm not on the West Coast anymore, and so I don't keep up to date with California, Arizona, Washington, and Oregon laws and
Sure.
rules. So, and here it's all private property or lease.
Yep. Yep. And you know, the East Coast has always been a challenge for, I'm going to say, for the GPAA, because you know we're always looking for properties. I'd love to find a couple of more good leases out there, and just be able to do some things. I mean, we had to drop a couple of leases a few years ago just because of the problems that we were having on the leases and other
Right.
things. So yeah, you know which one. You know which one
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Stuff
Yeah.
happens. Stuff
Yeah.
happens.
And you know what? Stuff happening once or twice is okay. It just happens.
Right.
But when I'm getting calls from the sheriff's department like every 2 weeks, then
Then
that's
it's
a
a
problem.
problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But
So
that, from what I understand about that lease, it was kind of a pain anyway.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
um, but nothing like
So
the Swank West, the jewel of the East Coast, or
yeah,
even the Swank East. So, but,
I would love to come out and just spend a week on Swank.
well, come out
I
for Gold Rush days, Labor
I
Day
wish I
weekend.
could. I someday I will make it out there. And I cannot believe that I just said someday because I hate saying someday.
You hate
God,
that
I hate that.
phrase.
Oh, I hate it.
Well, there's
Well, that was
always, I know you're busy, 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 but there's always Fossick too,
yeah.
and which is, but do you want to come and essentially have to work and be, or do
Oh
you
no,
want to relax?
if I come to Swank for a week, I'm not working. I'm showing up as uh Bob Stewart.
Okay.
That dude Kevin Hoagland kind of looks like me,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's not me. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up and put a dredge in the water and deny that I'm whoever everybody thinks that I am, and just go out there and
They say there's a twin everywhere in the world, and I'm not that guy.
okay.
Quit bothering me. GPAA,
I've
what?
met two of my twins,
Oh my
and
God,
it
there's
is
more
scary.
than two of you?
There are two twins. One of them I almost got in trouble for because you remember years ago there was a Subaru Outback commercial where the guy and his girlfriend pull in somewhere and they're really yuppie-fied, and they walk into a biker bar,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a big guy sitting at the bar, and all he does is looks over like this. I got calls from my employer at the time, the big M company, saying, "Are you moonlighting?" And I had no idea what they were talking about. And I went back, I found that commercial and I watched it and I went, "Oh crap, that's me." I couldn't find it was a little bit darker, but the beard, he was in a little bit of a dark room. But when the guy turned his head and he looked at the camera, it looked just like this. And it was
Oh,
scary. Yeah. Yeah.
really?
The thing, oh, I'm sorry. He was looking from this way at just the
But
camera.
still,
Now,
but
see, if it
still.
was been this side, I've got the dimples on that side. So,
Well,
oh,
make sure you put your other side up when someone bothers you in the hole when you're
yeah,
dredging,
yeah,
But
yeah.
um, I got another question.
Sure.
Uh, we've been yapping away, and it was a little back on gold claims, talking about claims,
Okay.
and Jason, AU, Colorado. What happens to a closed claim or claims that have been that has elapsed, that they didn't make payment? You can take those over if
Okay.
it's right.
Yes, absolutely. Now, here's where I give everybody a warning. Right now, because the BLM a few years ago went away from the LR 2000 to a
Mhm.
program called the MLRS. So the MLRS has been problematical at times. But I have right now, I show that I have 5 closed claims by the BLM that are not closed. I have the receipts. I have the cancel, I have the canceled checks. We've got everything, and we've presented it to the BLM, and now it's just a matter of them getting everything updated. So basically, if you walk in and you see that, you file on that, and these are claims that I've got over in Montana that I've got all the paperwork. But if you overfiled on that and then all the paperwork gets straightened out, then you out some money. Now, BLM will ultimately give you back your money on something like that, but it's really a pain in the butt. What I will tell you is that if you find an area that you believe is closed, let's say that the BLM, the MLRS says that it's closed, you need to directly contact the LM and get a hold of the adjudicator and make sure that there's no red flags on it. And even then, I can't guarantee you that it's not still a current claim. So,
There you
county
go.
recorder's office, generally, there's a lot of people that don't record their claims every year. They almost like a one and done. And everything that I have, I record every year. So even if there is a problem with the BLM and you go to the county recorders, let's say you have a Pike County County recorder office and you look up my name, then you're going to see that all of my paperwork is current. So it's all good.
Okay, my friend from New York, Heath Doty, he wants me to ask you your thoughts on New York gold and if you will ever come there.
I've been to New York. I've gone prospecting. And the simple fact that at that time, and I don't know if things have changed, but the simple fact that I can't own that gold aggravates me.
I hear they're working on changing the King's Law, though.
If they do that, there's some places. That's one I won't give you an X marks the spot. But I had a friend of mine that spent most of his life in the Adirondacks, and when I went up to spend some time with him, he took me to some places, and this gold. I hate it when somebody says there's no gold here. I found gold in Iowa. I found gold in Nebraska. We all know that there's gold in Missouri, and there's definitely gold in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Louisiana. Little iffy. It's in one part, way, way up in the Northeast.
Isn't that kind of like gold in Kentucky, where it's just pretty much where the glaciers came in by
Straight line.
in
Yep.
Just a little bit by Fort Knox and
Yeah. Now Kentucky, I haven't prospected Kentucky. I know people that have, and they were sorely disappointed.
But I hear Eastern Tennessee has some nice gold. Actually, a friend of mine, he found a nice nugget in the Calico River, I believe.
Yep.
Calico Plains,
Calico.
River.
Yep.
Sniping.
Yep.
2.6 grams, I think.
Nice. That's not the biggest one that I've seen. I've seen a 5-grammer that came out of Tellico. So, it's that Eastern, that whole. Pardon?
Oh, I've read some interesting history of the gold mining in the Coker Creek and Tellico Plains area.
Yeah. We had a great claim or a great lease in Coker Creek. And the unfortunate thing is that it was the family that owned the property sold the property, and the guy that bought it was not interested in going on.
Was that the one with the log house on it?
Yeah.
I've been to that property once on my way down to the Loud Mine and to Vane Mountain. Let me see. My friend, this is a good friend of mine. He's a dredger. He wants to know, he asked a while back, Kevin, how much is a lifetime membership now with the GPAA?
Oh crap, I don't know what it is today.
Uh,
Um,
there's a pinned comment up at the top, Robert. It has the link to the goldprospectors.org. And from there, you could see, I believe you even offer a monthly membership now, right?
yeah, we've got
Monthly,
now that's kind of
yearly.
going away.
Oh,
Um, we've always got some sort of special. So while that computer's firing up, I'll see what the what's going on with Lifetime right now.
okay.
And while I'm doing
Well,
that,
would it be a
ask me a
better
question.
deal in the long run to go with an LDA MA membership?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been around the LDMA forever, so now because of the just kind of the cost of things, the LDMA membership does not automatically include a lifetime GPA membership. Did I lose you?
I hear you.
Yeah, I see you. I got you. Okay. My phone just decided to turn
Well,
sideways and do something stupid. So
phones can be that way, you know.
yeah,
I know on my end I've been a little glitchy tonight, so I
yeah,
think it's all over here in the Midwest and they're out in the Southwest. I don't know.
yep. Well, I'll tell you what. I
Technology
went to
for you.
Starlink when I moved in here to the camp. Oh my goodness, I could not be happier.
I hear it's pretty spendy though.
What's Starlink?
Yeah.
$600 for all the equipment, and they take care of it. I've had two tables go bad, and I've also had well, Dishy went bad, and all I did was go in, send in the serial number. Next, 2 days later, I've got everything. And when I say bad, not completely off, just not doing what I would like for it to do.
Okay. All Things Country says looks to be 800 for a lifetime. Rob Y Gold says years ago it was 1500 for lifetime. So what is it? Judy and I went with the Lost Dutchman's,
Uh-huh.
and we got our lifetime GPAA membership with that, plus the LDMA properties, which are owned flat out. They're patented properties.
Yep.
They're not a claim. I can't
And
wait.
with almost every LDMA camp, we do have almost
Full
all of them where
full
we have
hookup,
room.
right?
We have some other claims around most of them. I'm not going to say all of them.
But
I mean,
most of them.
it's not like we have extra leases around Loudvine or Vane.
Jason says 1850 with premium gift. Could you do me a favor, Kevin?
What you need?
I need a pee real bad. So I'm gonna put my Ed AI up, and
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and it's gonna be a membership question. The GPAA has been the cornerstone of gold prospecting community for many years, since the day of Buzzard. What do you believe sets a GPAA apart from other organizations? And what benefits do members receive from being part of the association?
Wow, what a great question.
And
Okay,
I'll be right back, and you'll
I'll
see
see you.
me when I come back.
And then when you get back after I answer this question,
Yeah.
I'm going to step out for a moment.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Be right back.
Okay, so the GPA was started in 1968 by George the Buzzard Massey. And what George wanted to do was bring prospectors and miners together to make sure that they had places to go prospecting, places to go mine, and have those opportunities. And also in the long run, he created the magazine, and the magazine is full of stories and it's full of education. We have the claims, we have the leases, we have the chapters program, we have oh man, I mean, there's, as far as an organization of like this, there is nobody else like the GPA, not that I know of. We've got, off and on, we've had different television opportunities. I'm working more on Gold Trails. I'm bringing more of that back. We've been posting a lot of old episodes of Gold Fever with Tom. So to me, it's a very big answer to a really, really good question. I mean, claims. Have I dropped claims over the last few years? Absolutely. And it's not because people aren't finding gold on them. It's more because people are having a harder time even getting to the cliff and accessing the claims. I've got enough people that are out there all across the country that are still testing and doing things on claims, that if you're not finding gold on a GPA claim, you need to join a chapter or you need to learn more. I've walked on the claims where people absolutely said, why are we keeping this claim? There's no gold here. And after, just kind of the gold trails things of getting, let's look at the world. Let's let everything talk to us. Let's look at the history. And then finding some really good gold on them. Yeah.
To be honest
I'll use
with you, Kevin, my best nugget ever was found at the Scott River camp.
Oh yeah. Oh, and speaking of Scott River, I will be rebuilding it. I will. I was up there a couple of months ago. Everybody told me that it just burned completely to the ground. It didn't. There was still a lot left. I do not call that fire by the name of the fire. I just call it the HCC complex, or the HCC fire, because some friends of the camp did lose their lives.
Ooh.
So, but I will rebuild that camp. That camp is kind of in my pocket and my purview now. And the state's working with us. We're doing a lot of things and so on like that. So it will be reopened. And one of the things that I'm looking to do is increase the defensible area of that claim, because I want to make that property. I want to make that property a safe haven.
David Villa, he's from California. He's asking about, what about Pine Log?
Pine Log, that's ancient history. That was a screw up between BLM, and it was just not recoverable. It just was not recoverable. So we gave up the claims. The little bit of private property that's down there it's virtually impossible. It's just tough. So I'm still looking at the memberships.
Okay.
We've got a GPAA with a free premium gift, and I have a funny feeling that's going to be like the detectors and so on.
And so that's like a choice of a gold monster or a 800 or something.
No, the Gold Monster or the Garrett 24K.
Oh,
Man, that's that machine's a monster.
good machine, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've yeah, I like it. So with the premium gift, whatever it is right now, because I can't get it to pop up, it's 1850, and then with the free gift, it's 1450. But for I can't. Oh, I see. If the thing is trying to it's trying to reset itself. Okay, so there's you some pricing on the lifetimes. Yeah, that that rework of that machine has been pretty freaking amazing.
And you're the man to talk to about detectors, I swear.
Let's go. No, you know what? You're gonna go talk. I'm gonna go get a drink of water,
Yeah, you
and I'm
go
gonna hit
do
the head
what
real
you
quick.
have to do right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So
And
I will be back in less than a minute or two. I just need
okay,
some more water. So
okay,
be
okay.
right back. Have fun. So I got a question for you.
Okay.
While I'm gone, if you had the opportunity to go anywhere in and let's call it the Americas,
Okay.
because you spent time in Mexico, you've been down in there. So if you had to go from Canada all the way down to South America, talk about where you would go and why.
Oh,
And I can't hear you now.
and I'm sure it's gold prospecting related. Turn around, Ed. Turn around. What you talking about, David? Thank you, Paul C. Um, shoot, in North America, there's several places I would love to go. One, I'd like to go up to the Yukon, meet Alan and Yukon Alley face to face, see if I could get permission to play on like Bonanza Creek or some of the other well-known creeks in the area, try my luck. Or just work with Ali and Alan. I wouldn't mind going up, visiting my friend in Nome and playing a little in Nome. My friends from Washington, Kevin and Dave. Dave works a mine inland now. He went from dredging to using a crawler to inland mining now. And I believe Kevin is still running a dredge. That'd be pretty cool. Definitely up to Juneau, Alaska to work the beach with Ray Rusaw. I would love to go play on Vancouver Island with Moto Mining, um, Andy Thrax Mining, and Polly. I would love to go work the Fraser with Dan Hurd, Picker. What's that? What's his place on the Fraser's? No, that's Picker's Paradise is a Yuba River spot. Pickertons. Um, and I'd love to go while he's still here with us. I'd love, love, love to go up to the Barkerville, British Columbia area and meet one of my inspirations for YouTube. And I think he's a legend in short film, long form, short form, uh, gold mining, wildlife, cinematography. Uh, Darcy Cooper. What else? Yeah, I'd like to come back to Vermont, Heath. I did really good on Broad Brook, but from what I understand, some people are kind of messing it up for the Vermont boys and the New England prospectors on Broad Brook. Don't forget here, yes, but he said North America, Brad.
No, no, no. The Americas.
Oh, Americas, yes,
Yeah.
true.
Sorry. From Canada,
Americas, all the way down to
all the way
Chile.
down to South America.
Now, if I could get away with it, uh, my grandmother started a clinic in the Indies in Peru, and now it's a hospital in a bigger village. And from what I understand, Peru's one of the biggest producers of gold in South America. And uh, is that about right, Kevin, or are there
I'm
some
checking.
biggers?
I'm checking because I don't know what Peru's total gold reserves were estimated out.
Yes, and I'd love to meet up with you guys in No Gold, Utah, because I know you're all lying. Um, but if I could get away with my life, um, somewhere like Sonora has some beautiful gold in Mexico. Dave
Yeah.
from Gold Base doing extremely well down there.
Yes, he is.
And
I've done very well down
in
in
Sonora.
yeah, in what they call the Golden Triangle around Caborca and then coming back up the Golden Triangle.
Uh,
So right now in Peru is leading of estimated reserves of gold right now at 34.68 metric tons of gold reserves.
well, you
Followed by
guys didn't
Ecuador.
get it all.
No. And then followed by Ecuador, Slovakia, and then the Ukraine. I don't know what that has to do with.
South America.
Yeah.
How'd Ukraine get in there? Doggone. Kind of, but the big storms mess shit up too. Beep. Oh, I believe it, Heath. And if Rockhound Talk is still in here, sorry, Amber. I don't know why I was thinking your name was Amanda. I'm blonde. I'll blame it on that. I'm partially blonde. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Dude, earlier you were a redhead, so make up your mind.
Well, at one time I was a redhead, almost a carrot top, but uh, it depends on what time of year. Down east, detecting and prospecting. Great to see you, Bob Drake. It's been way too long, my friend. No gold in Maine. Yeah, okay. I've seen all of Brian Wilder's piles, and you're fibbing, Bob. Because I swear, Brian's biggest gold has all come from Maine.
I've seen gold that's come out of Maine.
Ginger Club, that's right. I'm a proud ginger, careless, even though the sun don't like me or my skin don't like the sun. That's why I wear long sleeve shirts all the time.
You and me both. Well, I shouldn't say all the time. So the biggest, it looks like the biggest issue in Peru right now is, in spite of the country's potential mineral wealth, exploration lagged in much of the last third of the 20th century for a number of reasons, including diminished foreign investment, world price fluctuations, lack of transportation facilities, and security of, scarcity, excuse me, scarcity of processing plants.
Hmm.
Huh. Hey, Ed, maybe
Yeah,
we ought to go to Peru and start a mine.
there you go. Who could we get to grubstake us?
Let's talk to Dave.
Right?
Oh, sure, why not?
Never hurts. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always bug my boss about, hey, let me set me up with the crew, go to Alaska. We could even sell it to the networks and we'll beat out Gold Rush, you know.
there you go.
I need
Well,
some truck drivers, some dump truck drivers, and some machine operators, the mechanic. Take the whole crew. Come on.
why not? I mean, if
Ask
you're going to get
Kevin about gold in Utah, please.
gold in Utah, um, not that far out of St. George, Utah, is a GPAA claim. And I've known the owner of that claim for a long time. And it's ultra fine gold. You have to understand truly how to run a sluice box for maximum recovery. But I will tell you that there's good gold. There's good gold on that claim. And of course, that whole area, there's, if you go in and you look at um, gold deposits, well, even just looking at gold deposits in Utah, there are registered gold deposits.
And Why Gold just said, according to Seeking Alpha, says Utah State is in the top 10 gold producing states. See, I know they always lie to us, Rob. Those Utah guys. They say they're our friends, but oh, no gold in Utah. Come on.
Okay, gold, the best known placers or placers, there it is, in Utah are the Abajo Mountains along Johnson and Recapture Creeks. Um, Oquidith, I'm pronouncing it. Mountains Brigham Canyon was the largest gold placer in Utah. The Colorado River from the mouth of the Dolores River. Gee, I managed that. South to Amasa and back bend west to Moab. And then the Green River from Flaming Gorge Reservoir to down to Horseshoe Bend.
Jeff, GoPro Unlimited says it's a byproduct from the largest copper mine in America. See, Golden Utah, I agree. They're lying, they're fibbing. And speaking of the devil, Brian Wilder, good to see you, American Gold Prospectors. Fondly known as Brian No Pants.
Excuse me?
Well, you gotta be careful if you're ever in a GPS watch party or something on Zoom, Brian's usually out in his travel trailer, workshop dredge hauler,
Right.
and you see clothing, but from his waist down, I guess he wears no pants most of the time. I don't know. I think it might be a masshole thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know.
So here's something interesting about Utah, and this is from the Utah Geological Survey and the Bureau of Land Management. Using a vacuum or suction dredge with an intake diameter up to 4 inches and having a rating of up to 12 horsepower, or using hand-operated sluice equipment with related tools, dredging must occur beneath the existing water surfaces or upon non-vegetated sand and gravel bars within the active stream channel for a period not to exceed 45 days annually. And that came from the U.S. Bureau of Land Management and the Utah Division of Water Rights Information. Recreational panning, knock yourself out.
Are we having any headways at all with the laws in California?
Nope.
I don't think we ever will, ever since that one thing they where recreational is not essential or something like that, where it doesn't fall under the 1872 Mining Act. That's
There's so many arguments on that one. Now, if I'm dredging in California, I'm dredging in open areas that are unclaimed. That's in the past
right,
because I'm prospecting, and
right,
I'm prospecting the way that I'm going to do production. So that falls within the 1872. I mean, they can't tell me the 1872 mining law is not so definitive that it tells you that the only way you can do your prospecting is with a gold pan or a 1872, a gold pan or a sheet to do
right,
winnowing. Yeah.
right.
Um, and I've fought that argument more than once. Uh, you know, the BLM, Forest Service, you have their rules, their regulations, but they allow a state that is becoming more protective of rules of their land to be able to get away with some of these things. And I'm not going to turn this into a big pissing match because I'll
Don't
probably
blame me.
change the subject in about 30 seconds because I'll get really pissed off. But the idea of at this point in time, I can't put a suction dredge in the water. I can't put anything in the water that's mechanical, mechanized, motorized, or compounded in the state of California, except for a couple of areas, which is ridiculous. So therefore, I have no ability to generate a viable metal that I put back into the economy. I'm not spending money in California for being there while I'm dredging or these different things. I'm not paying taxes on the gold that I'm finding because there is no gold that I'm finding. So it goes on and on and on and on. So, the idea of all of these horrible, horrible things that we do to me have just always been absurd.
Right.
They talk about the methylation of mercury. Science, physics takes control. And it only happens under a very specific, you have to have very specific events that causes that to happen. And if you're in a stream that's 60 or 50 degrees, it ain't going to happen.
Right.
And when the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers, absolutely says that dredging is de minimis because it's dredge and fill. I'm not removing material.
Right.
I'm picking it up. And unless I'm running my dredge completely wrong, that material is always underwater. And then it goes right back into the same stream fill. Now, if I was booming 300 feet up on the side of a hill, and I've got pumps running water to that, and I'm dry hole or booming, and that water's running back down into the water channel, yeah, that could be an issue.
Right.
But that's why when you're booming,
you have
settling ponds.
Just like if you're high banking.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It's gold pouring time. I'm going to get pissy. There's an ounce of gold. There's a slug of ounce. There's 5 ounces of silver.
Ooh, nice.
There's 7 ounces of copper. There, hold on. That's the right way.
No,
shaped like Arizona. Yep.
Is that from like the Bisbee area or anything?
No, this is the silver and copper are secondary enrichments for some of the areas that I've worked.
Okay, yeah.
So like one of my hard rocks, and this is just a small amount of it. Yeah. But yeah.
So those actually, did you pour them?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I bought a what's his name? Make your own gold bars.
Uh-huh.
He has hundreds of molds, and he had a mold of the shape of the state of Arizona. I went, well, I got to pour copper, I got to pour silver, but there's no way I'm going to pour, this in gold is a little bit over a pound of gold. I ain't doing that. So it got a little octagon or a hexagon 1 ouncer. So that's, I'm not going to pour a pound of gold. I have other things to do with that gold.
I believe it.
Yep.
David Villa said, porn. Boy, did I need that. GoPro Unlimited. Pouring. Yeah, he's being correct, kind with his gold porn spell in there. Those are cool molds though, and those are byproducts from your own claims, hard rock claims.
Yeah, hard rock. Yeah.
Nice.
And then and I've got if like on my hard rocks, if I'm pulling gold, most of it I just send to the knacker, it gets crushed and I get a check. That's pretty much, but when I'm going out, well, there's part of last year and this winter.
Now that's the product of hard rock there in that
no, this has just been out sluicing when I was in areas, dry washing.
Okay, so that's your total of last year of everything.
Well, part of last year and up to a little bit of this year, and then a little bit more. So,
Nice.
but this is just gang. I'm sorry. I mean, I've got some spending gold in case everything goes crazy. I've got some pinches to get through.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know what gold fever is. It's a business to me. It's a commodity to me. So all of this is finding a new home here before too long.
Now,
I
it's been
I
years
keep
since you were last on the show, and you said you don't have gold fever anymore. But there was a time you did. I know it. And I know you've been around it for a very, very long time. When did you first get bit by the gold bug?
Okay. Hang on. I got. You're gonna get you're gonna get almost an exclusive, because this is a story that I haven't really.
Oh, Mr.
I did a
Lodak
video
said
on it.
you're trying to show us a nugget.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Were you trying to show them a nugget? Over to your. There you go.
yeah. These I keep.
Sorry, Mr. Lodak.
Yeah. These I keep. I'm not gonna. Oh crap.
There it is.
I'm not gonna. Yeah. I keep most of those. And then when I have really cool specimens, like this is. Oh crap. I'm used to my back cameras, so now I'm chasing cameras. So this
Closer.
piece of gold right here is pretty rare, because this is not shot through quartz. This is this is through auriferous granite.
Oh.
So
Wow.
just a beautiful,
That's
beautiful veining and everything else like that. That came through an auriferous granite.
So being in that host rock would, being more rare, make that even more valuable as the
Oh yeah,
specimen
yeah,
compared to
yeah.
it being in calcite or quartz.
Right, right. Yeah, I've got a couple of very rare nuggets, and I think I've shown them on just about everywhere before, but I do have a gold nugget that it's right at 3/4 of an ounce of gold, but it's shot through solid magnetite.
Wow.
So if I set it in my hand like this, and I run my rare earth magnet above it, that thing will jump out of my hand up to 3 inches and just slam onto the magnet. Yeah. So who says that gold's not magnetic?
Right, right.
So how I got really started is as a little kid. I think I don't know, I was either 6 or 7, and we were in California, and my family had this. I want to say, I don't know if it was owned that we owned, or if it was something that somebody else had. It doesn't matter. But it was out in the California desert, out in the Randsburg area, and we'd go out there and just have little get-togethers and kind of hang out. But I went wandering off to the desert. You didn't have to worry about stranger danger, and it was kind of too cool for snakes and so on. And I really didn't care. So I'm taking and I start hearing this thunk, 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 and I'm seeing this little dust cloud coming up over this little ridge. And I walked up to it, and I walked up to the top, and here's this old guy. And I mean, Ed, he was old. He had to be probably in his 30s, maybe. Yeah, had to be in his 30s, but just this old dude. And he's out there with a bar, puffer box, just sitting there, just going to town, working on that bellows and everything else. And he had this folding steel table with a wash tub on it, old galvanized wash tub, and this old rusty as can be metal gold pan. So, you know, we're talking mid 60s, early to mid 60s, or I'm sorry, mid to late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy looks up and he acknowledges me. And so I take another step and I take a couple more steps and take another step. And finally, I'm 4 or 5 feet away from him. And he gets all done, cleans up the dry washer, throws it all into the pan, and he's starting the pan in this wash tub. And he looks up and he goes, "Come here, kid. Let me show you something." And I walked up and he panning in this metal pan. And he brings up and he swirls this material and he says, "What do you see?" And I went, "I don't know." Because it was all black sand, just
Right.
all black sand. I didn't know what that was. And then he popped it one time and then popped it again. And the smile that went all the way across that top of that pan. I mean, half the pan was that wide and it was deep all the way across. And that was then what he'd been doing that day. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you know what that is?" "Gold?" He said, "Yeah, but it's something else." "What?" "That kid is eternity. It's been here since the very beginning of this planet, and it will be here after we're all gone." And I thought about that, and it's just the coolest thing I've ever heard. But I had no freaking idea what the word eternity meant. It just sounded cool. So I went back and I talked to my mother, asked my mother about what eternity was, and talked to one of my brothers, and they told me. And that was it. I mean, I was hooked. I've been hooked. I've been hooked since that day.
And now
Of
it's your career.
Yeah. And a lot of people will say, don't do what you truly love because you take your hobby or your lifestyle or whatever and you make it a job. For the last, I don't even know how many decades now. I mean, I've been in this industry for ever. Had a shop, worked for Mine Lab, did field testing for just about every other company. I've tested stuff since I was in my 20s. But I will tell you, even on the worst days, when I get up every morning and I sit down and I open up my computers and I'm checking emails and I'm doing this and that, I don't feel like I have a job. It's not, I enjoy what I do so much, and helping people become better prospectors and miners has been, for the last 25 years, that's been my only goal. You know, back before the buzzard died, a whole bunch of us, and I want to say this was in the very late 80s, may have been 90. We're all sitting down at iBar, and George was sitting there, and we're all just hanging out around the fire. And George looked around, and there was a bunch of us sitting there, and he said, "You know, there's three things that I want to make sure that we always do. One is that make sure that we have always got places for our members to go prospect and mine. Number two is do everything we can to keep our members the very best informed that we can. And number three," and he looked me dead in the eye when he said this, and I know he wasn't just talking to me, but he said, "Always help our members," as in members helping members become better prospectors. And I've done the very best that I can with that for all these years. Now, granted, I'm one guy and there's a whole lot of you.
Right.
So sometimes it's not timely. And if I'm traveling, sometimes it's going to take a while. But I always ask, when people call me, I have a real simple rule. You call me, if I don't answer the phone, leave a message. Because sometimes I will never see that I had a call, but I will always know that I've gotten a message. If I haven't called you back in 24 hours, do it again. If I haven't called you back in 48 hours, leave me alone and I will call you when I get back from mining. Oh, oh. And I learned to laugh. I learned to laugh every time I say that, because for your first few times I didn't say that, and I didn't realize I was making people mad. They're like, no, it's just the way it is. I'm not being
Right,
a jerk. It's just, it's what happens. So,
right. You're out busy. You're getting on the gold or whatever you're getting on. I'll get a hold of you when I can.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
you're already spread so thin like Vegemite. So
Oh,
that's why it's so thin like Vegemite.
yeah,
You don't want to have
yeah,
Vegemite thick on your bread, let me tell
yeah.
you.
First time I tried, Vegemite was when I'd heard about Vegemite growing up, never tried it. First time I was in Australia, oh God, I don't even remember when it was. It was a long, long, long time ago. I was in the Western Outback, and the guy gave me this thing of Vegemite, and he said, "Have you ever tried it?" I said, "No," and he handed me a spoon.
Oh God.
Okay, so I took about half of a teaspoon and just threw it in my mouth, and he just looked at me and said, "Mate, a little tiny bit." And he said that as I was turning my head, spitting it out, wondering if I was going to empty my stomach in like 3 seconds. So, but I've learned to eat it sparingly.
Yeah. I had some sent from an Australian friend and I tried it for my first time live during the show. I'm
How'd that
glad
go?
I after the piece it wasn't too bad. I listened to what they had to say. A very well buttered piece of toast,
Yep.
very well buttered and very, very, very thinly spread.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I have found,
Vegemite, honey. Talking about Vegemite.
hang on, I
Sorry.
got a call coming through.
Oh, well.
Okay. I just kicked it back. Um, the one, have you ever seen what they call the Italian olive salad slash olive spread or sandwich spread?
No, don't
It's
think so.
oily. It's kind of oily.
Well, being
Um,
olive oil.
it's not olive oil in it, but it's got carrots and cauliflower and I mean everything chopped up really super fine. A couple of different types of peppers in it and some other things like that. And it goes a long way. But I did that on Vegemite on a little bit of uh on a piece of toast that had Vegemite on it, a lot of butter. And I'll tell you what, that was good.
Hmm.
Problem is I've lost about 90 pounds in the last year, and eating something like that ain't good for me. So,
Now, I had some UP prospectors wondering some stuff that I said I want to bring up to you.
okay.
Because I've been a member of GPAA and LDMA for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
From right before Buzzer died, I had the pleasure of meeting Wilma and Tom and Perry at gold shows before on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Been to Burnt River Camp, Scott River Camp. Never Staten yet, but I'll get there. And I I know the Buzzard would advocate for the small scale miner and stuff.
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with anything on this side of the country on the Great Lakes with Lake Superior and beach mining?
I am furious. I cannot, I don't, I want to know where the science is about closing down all of the access for the Great Lake, the that whole area. And that I want to see the science. I've asked for the science, and I doubt I'll ever get it. I doubt I'll ever see it. It's frustrating as hell to me because you're going out there. Okay, Mike Pung goes out there, steps up a gold cube, and recovers gold. He's not taking anything away except for maybe a little bit of concentrate and a little bit of gold.
Right.
There, I don't even know what the thought process is behind this. And I've heard that somebody said it was about digging holes or leaving a bunch of holes or this or that. Okay, if that's the case, then fill in your freaking holes.
Which they should reclaim, period.
They will. I mean, well, I don't know. I
Granted,
mean,
nature will do it in time, but we should
yeah,
always reclaim
yeah,
our
yeah,
holes on the beach.
yeah,
So
yeah. But I see. I don't know. That's one thing that I've heard, but I don't actually know what this is all about. I've heard it. I've heard about it. I don't know if it's just a game or a plan. But if I go to Washington State and I follow the rules and regulations, I can still go out on the Cape Disappointment, bring material up, and run it. This as long as my water's not going back into the ocean or this or that. Or, well, actually, I have ocean water. You can't truck your own water in.
right.
But I think if I went up to to that area tomorrow and it wasn't too cold, I could go out, set up my gold cube, and just start mining gold at Cape Disappointment. And
I was planning on going up there again this year. I went up there and met up with Mike Pung and oh shoot, I forget his name. But I met up with Jason.
Cash,
No, Cash
Mike and Cash.
Best wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Oh gee whiz. Oh, I'll probably think of it after the show. But Mike and his wife was at the campground. I met up with Mike on the beach. I was there with Jason, the Flower Gold Wizard,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a great time. I actually ended up doing pretty good for what little time I was able to work with my better half.
Yeah.
And it's I've heard. Now I don't know if I want to. It's expensive drive up there, get a place or in a campground, and if I want to be comfortable with Judy, I have to pull my trailer or get a B&B or a motel room.
Yeah.
So, I've heard two stories. The holes being left behind on the beach and stuff like that. Then another one was the erosion from the high benches. That's going to end up eroding anyway.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay. Are people working the high benches, or are you?
No, just the beach. And
Yeah. I mean,
unlike
that's
Cape Deception and other beaches, they're not looking for seams and stuff 2-3 feet deep. They're skimming.
Yeah.
They're skimming the surfaces.
Yeah.
Most of them use a flat shovel and they're skimming.
Yeah.
Just skimming it.
Same way we're going to work Cape Disappointment, or same way we're going to work the beaches in Nome. You know, that if somebody's talking in that one of the erosion of the high benches, I'm just going to call bullshit on that. Pardon me.
Well, I would call it Flower Gold Wizard. I was there with him, all things. I
Right.
went up to meet Flower Gold Wizards, all things country. But Mike Pun goes there every year for his family.
Yeah.
And
Oh
before
yeah.
I went up there to meet Jason, I got a hold of Mike and said, "Hey, Mike, when are you going to be up there? Because I'm going up there, and if we can work it out that we're in there up there at the same time, it'd be great seeing you since I haven't seen you for a couple of years."
Right.
And so he let me know, and we got to meet up. Mike's a great guy, even with his corny minor jokes. Gotta
Oh
love
God.
that gentleman. Gotta
Freaking
love that
pungism
gentleman.
is. Yeah.
But I know right now he's doing some advocating for the UP prospectors and
Right.
Wisconsin prospectors and Michigan prospectors,
Yeah.
which Mike's a great guy and he is a good mouthpiece for us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mike is great, and you throw him into something like that. He's in his realm. I mean, that's a
yeah,
place that he's been hundreds and hundreds of times. I
right.
would be I would be remiss to go out and to other than just try to get somebody to explain to me how they feel we're actually doing something wrong. Yeah, that just makes me crazy.
All things country goes. Mike is a great guy. Yes, he is. Jason as well. Yes, he is. I would have just missed you at the meetup. I was there right after the meetup. All things. Mike does a great Pop Hoffman impression. Uh, there's,
Oh,
I think I've heard Mike's joke about the, what do you get when a miner falls into a mine shaft? A B flat minor.
B flat minor. Yeah,
I
yeah,
must have heard that joke like 100 times, if
yeah.
not
Well,
200.
you've heard the Hispanic magician, right?
Probably, but refresh
Yeah.
my memory.
Well, hold on. Now that I just said that.
You can't remember.
Oh, he said, "I'm going to make myself disappear." There. Okay, got it. I'm going to count to three and make myself disappear. Uno, dos, and he disappeared without a trace.
I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Oh.
no, not B flat minor, A flat minor.
Oh, yes. A
Yeah,
flat
A,
minor.
yeah,
A
yeah,
flat
yeah.
minor.
A minor, A flat minor.
Not B flat minor. You're right.
Yeah,
A flat
I,
minor.
yeah, I was just running through my piano chords and went, oh, hold on, A flat minor. Yeah, that's it.
I stand corrected. You are correct.
Yeah.
Kevin. Hey, Shane, Ohio River History. Great to see you. You know, I got some assistance from Chat GPT for some questions for you, but I think I only hit one of them, and that was for the one for my pee break.
Mhm.
Oh well, you know,
You're pulling. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on. I guess I missed that. You're pulling questions for me from Chat GPT.
I asked Chat GPT for questions for Kevin Hoagland of the Gold Prospectors Association of America. For my 2 hour long podcast, could you give me some ideas for some questions, and it gives me a list of questions.
You were
And-
that specific
And
that
then
you
I
said,
preview it, and it came
wow.
up with some stuff like the first one. Okay. Hey, Kevin, welcome to Tuesday Night Hangout Live. As the executive director of development for the GPAA, can you give us an overview of the organization's mission and what services it provides to its members?
Well, and that's the one you asked me. So yeah, I went
Well,
through that one.
that's
Yeah.
the one
It's a
I
little bit,
asked you
yeah.
was uh, the second one, GPAA being the cornerstone
Oh yeah.
of the.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's one on gold prospecting as a hobby with rich history. I put free lifestyle. I
Right.
kind of don't like that hobby word.
Yeah. It's not a hobby.
It's
It's
a
either a sport,
lifestyle.
it's a sport, or it's a lifestyle. That's it.
I prefer the term lifestyle, but I
Sure.
could see the sport in it
Yeah.
too. History and a dedicated community of enthusiasts. What do you think draws people to the pursuit of gold, and how has the landscape of gold prospecting evolved over the years? And that's just some examples. And there's one on
Wow.
technology and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, give me a give me a technology question.
Okay. Technology plays a significant role in modern gold prospecting. What are some of the latest achievements or tools that GPAA members can utilize to enhance their prospecting experience?
Online research, LiDAR, Google Earth, damn good new types of detectors coming out. The ability to do huge amounts of research very, very specifically, like on Chat GPT. I've used it once or twice, but I'm a writer.
Right.
And when I asked a question and it came back and gave me some ideas, scared the hell out of me. So I kind of backed away from it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And how
kind
does
of
that
like me
change?
and the not the dowsing rods, but the pendulum kind of spooked me the first time I used
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And now let's do not take me down the road of dowsing, because it'll get really ugly and there'll be a lot of people pissed off on me on both sides of the fence.
Okay, we
So,
won't.
yeah.
But yeah, I use it as a tool to get ideas for questions. Because, last time you were on, it was pretty much all from the hip,
Oh,
or
yeah.
what the community asks in the chat room.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever I do, there's been a couple of times that I've gone on to somebody's radio show or a TV show or this or that, whatever, where I've had like a specific topic that I wanted to talk about. But generally, even when I go talk to when I'm doing public appearances for chapters and clubs and things like that, I walk in, I introduce myself and say, "What do you guys want to talk about?" I don't come in with an agenda. I don't come in with with anything, because I can sit there and talk for an hour without any problem.
Right.
But it may not be what they want to talk about.
Right.
So let's cut through the crap. Tell me what you want to talk about. Fine. And it's always funny, because there's this thing that I've always believed about starting a movement. The first guy that gets up is not the guy that starts the movement. It's the first follower. Because the first guy standing there is just a lone nut. So if some guy gets up and he asks a question, everybody else is sitting around there and they're not going to answer the question. And there's actually a great video of a guy starting a movement, but it's, there's always, you got to have that one guy that's the lone nut that's going to stand up and ask a question. So now you get your second follower and your third follower, and later on you're starting a movement. I get lucky every now and then when somebody will immediately ask a question. And man, I'll tell you, I did a meeting for a club in California where they said, look, you got an hour where we've scheduled this for an hour and a half. And 2.5 hours later, I'm begging for the meeting to end. And they're like, no, questions are still coming. And they're just like, hey, we'll keep going until you pass out. We took like 4 breaks. I went out, I went to the restroom, I went and smoked a cigarette, came back, and just went right back into it.
Like now, my show's usually 2 hours, and we're almost at 2.5.
Oh, wow.
Time flies when you're with friends with good conversation. And yeah, I use it, but I found out a lot of times I don't even end up using them. I
Sure.
use 1 or 2, but most of the time, my live chat room, my friends here in chat,
Yeah.
usually do a sufficient job at giving me
Yeah.
questions for my guests.
Well, think about it this way. Your chat GPT is that first person, what did I say? The first nut to
Right.
stand up, and then everybody else jumps in. So that's kind of cool. I've never no, and the questions that you were asking, the 3 or 4 that you read, I thought those were great questions. So, what else do we want to talk about? Want to talk about some of the new metal detectors that are out there?
Well, I invested in the MineLab 800 and did really good with it in the mother load, and I'm happy with that detector because it has the prospecting mode. It's
Yep.
waterproof up to 10 feet.
Yep.
It updates, your software updates when they have updates.
Yep. No more
Um,
having to go buy a new metal detector
right.
until they make significant hardware changes, not software, but hardware changes.
And I'm not one to go out and hop on the next thing, I don't need the MineLab Knox Equinox 900.
No.
I can't afford, what is that, the SDC?
2300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love one because they're waterproof, I understand. They fold
Yep.
up and backpack away really well. But what are they, $3,500 or something like that?
You know what? I bought mine so long ago, back when they were at the full price. And yes, and for all of you that know that I've worked for MineLab for well over a decade in development, um, I purchased my own detectors,
Oh, really?
except for maybe one.
MineLab
Okay, maybe
didn't
2.
give them to you?
Well, there's been some that, like during field testing and things like that, but there's been other machines that I just wanted them.
Actually, you came up when Debbie was on.
When?
2 weeks ago, I had Debbie on.
Really?
Yeah.
I miss Debbie. I haven't talked to her in so long.
She was super. She was a great guest.
I'll tell you, when I worked for MineLab and doing a lot of the tech stuff, or the stuff that I was doing, I'm not going to call it the big tech stuff, but working with the dealers, training, doing all this other stuff, I had this much of budget and everything else like that, and it made a mark. And then after I left MineLab and Debbie came in and they gave her the more opportunity and more budget and more, and just everything. Debbie did things. Debbie has been doing things that I could never have done, and I am so proud that she is my friend. I remember meeting Debbie for the very first time, and she really, she really didn't know a lot about detectors. I mean, she had the basics, and she had learned some of the product. But I'll tell you what, if Debbie showed up right now with I don't care what detector it is, and said, "Let's go prospect," we're going. We're going. If she wants to go metal detect, we're going to go.
I can understand that. I would love to meet. She was very nice to me when I met her at Columbus.
Uh-huh.
Uh, very
Yeah.
nice person, very nice woman. Hopefully, I'll have the opportunity and maybe swing detectors with her someday.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if the opportunity comes up, take a day off, whatever you have to do. Debbie's turned into one hell of a metal detectorist. And we've because I'm always busy and she's always busy, we're like this. We pass, and every now and then we get a chance to spend a little bit of time together. I believe there was let's see. I don't know if I can talk about it. No, can't talk about it. We went out and looked at and did something with a machine, and that's about it. And she was asking questions, and she was telling me things. And she knows the product, and she knows the competition.
That
So
I found out when she was on. She's,
yeah.
and like you, a wealth of knowledge and a
Yep.
great guest. Um, I personally would love to chat with you for another 2 hours, Kevin, and I'm sure we could do it too.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I do have to wake up at
Yep.
5-ish, 4:30-ish in the morning and go build some buildings and
Yep.
stuff and make sure my guys do what they're supposed to do so we all
Yep.
look good. Um, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us again.
Namaste, my friend. Yeah, absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
always welcome here Tuesday night Hangout Live and Flashing Your Pan. And I
Well, when
do
you
very much look forward to seeing you again, buddy.
yeah, and I look forward to getting back. You reached out to me, what was almost 4 months ago,
Yeah.
to schedule this, and I had it in my calendar. I had it in my secondary calendar, had it in my phone calendar, but unfortunately I lost my everything in my phone calendar. But it's tough. I mean, I would you know what? I miss you. I miss Tim and the rest of the gang. I haven't been on there in a while. Um, I'm just doing what I'm doing, helping people.
You're always a busy man.
I love.
Always, my
Yeah,
friend.
and
And
I
I,
love it.
I understand that and I appreciate it when guys like you and Debbie
Yeah.
work with me. I know I schedule way out,
Yep.
but it seems to work for me.
Yeah.
I schedule way out. I know who's coming. I send them their reminder and get another confirmation like I did with you last week.
Yep.
And it just seems to work.
So you want to do
Now,
something in late October?
sure.
uh, let me. I'll go through my schedule, then I'll send you a message
Okay.
on, like 4 or 5 months down the road what I've got. I mean, my schedule's pretty much out, but I don't know what it is. I don't look at it. I look at it middle of the month for the next month.
Well,
I just figure out where I'm going to
I
go.
I have decided, June 22nd is my 7th year anniversary of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. And
Nice.
out of these 6 years now, I've have only missed 3 shows.
Wow.
And that was when my mother died in California or Washington. I had to go back to Washington for one memorial service, then to Southern California to Orange County for her funeral, where she's buried with my late brother and my dad, and for that memorial service. And that time's the only time I've missed a show. And uh,
Congratulations.
I thank
That's
you. I
that's
greatly appreciate it.
yeah, that's a hell of a feat, man. And I have a hard I did like 3 podcasts last year. That was it. And at one time I was cranking them out almost every week and a half to 2 weeks. So, but
Well,
I
I know you
with
know, and I know a little more how your job might be, because I'm sure you're balancing Aztec at one time and Gold Trails and your duties at GPAA and then your podcast too. It's and then outings and everything on
yeah,
top of that.
but
It's
there have literally been days where I've come in, sat down in my house or sat down in my trailer and just looked around and said, what am I going to do? I've got nothing to do. But I've also, when I was traveling all the time, I got to the point where I would, when I'd check into a hotel or something,
mhm.
I would buy a local newspaper because it finally happened to me. I woke up one morning and I looked around and went, where the hell am I? And I got a local newspaper. So that takes care of that one from now on. I think that's just old age. So, all right,
Might
man.
be.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. It's been great. Thank you. And if I
You're
talk to
more
you
than
on the
welcome.
22nd, if I'm there and I can jump in and chat with you and let you know happy anniversary. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not,
Um,
congratulations on 7 years.
actually, my anniversary show will be the 25th.
25th.
And
Okay.
now I'm taking 3 months off. Last year I did it because
Uh-huh.
Dano had to leave the show because of work, and Ruby retired, and other things came up. I don't want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
for the public.
Yeah.
And so now it's a solo act. So I decided to take the summer off. Allows me to get out and play more.
Yep.
So I last year I took July, August, and September off.
Hmm.
Let me regroup, see how I could improve our show more.
Right.
And but the 25th will be my farewell. It will be an open line Tuesday probably.
Okay.
So if you want to hop in, you're more than welcome.
As soon as we get off and I've got my phone that I'm not doing this whole thing on, I'll put it into my schedule. And I don't know where I'm going to be. I'll look at my regular schedule. Hell, for all I know, I might be down in somewhere down in the south. All
Who knows where? Uh-oh,
right,
glitch.
before we go, I have to ask you a question, and it's you said you had to go back to Orange County
Yeah,
for, dude, are you an OC boy?
yeah.
Are you
Bo-
really?
born and
Huh.
raised Anaheim.
Way to go. Oh, had no idea. Yeah, yep. All right, brother. Um, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the great questions. Everybody out there that's still sticking around, that threw out some questions and things like that. Thank you very much. And I hope I didn't wear on your last nerves.
Not mine at all, my friend. Kevin, right back at you. It's been a pleasure having you with us again. Uh, Next week's Open Line Tuesday, everybody, where I'll give you a chance. Come on and grill me if you want. Talk about whatever you want. Other than that, Randy, Scotty, Tony, congratulations on the Adventure Sleuths by our friends over at Gold Pros. I almost said Gold Prospectors Space. Our friends over at prospectorsdream.com. Remember, hit up our friends over at goldprospectorspace.com. They're a great community. Many of them are in this room right now. And catch us every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Prospectors Radio with some very good friends of mine. And you never know. Sometimes that guy right there calls in. And
Generally on that.
Mr.
Now,
Lodek says GPS after party, so there'll be a Zoom after party after the show over at goldprospectorspace.com. Again, Kevin, thank you again for joining us.
thank you, brother.
Everybody out there, thank you all for joining us. Until next time, may you always have a flash in your pan. And you know what I like to say, Kevin?
Tell me.
Because it does happen. Maybe one day too, we'll meet you on the river. But for now, know what? Where'd my end credits go? There they are. Until then, we're out of there.
All right, gang. See ya.
Enjoy the live stream. Take care, Kevin. Thank you very much, my friend. David
You got the
Diaz,
time.
thank you. Robert the Putty, can't wait to dredge, brother. Randy,
5, 4,
send me your
3,
address,
2,
brother.
1.
Mr. Lodak, as always, thank you. Dan Zoller, Dan Roos, thank you. Brad Welsh, have a good one, Mike. Kevin, hey, Keith, how you doing? Paul C, see ya. Classic, everybody. Good night.